Hey, what's up? What's going on, guys? And welcome to Game 2 between Dignitas and SlayerS in the round of 8 of Team Arena Challenge. Down in the bottom of Metalopolis, we've got Dignitas' Killer. He will be the yellow Zerg. And over to his left door, we've got SlayerS Crank. He will be the red Protoss.
And there we have it. So Crank has already taken down Mers in game number 1. And now Dignitas throws out a Zerg player at them. We're going to see what Killer has in store if he has a little bit different look for his opponent. You know, Crank has actually been kind of the go-to guy for SlayerS in Team Arena, just regular Team Arena recently, and he's been playing pretty well. He did take out Stefano against Millennium, and did some damage there. Unfortunately, lost to a Del Scott after that, and he did actually fall to UN in, of course, the last set of matches. If you guys tuned in last week to Team Arena, we had Tai Lu, which was a Chinese team. SlayerS Golden actually took the first 4 games, and then Yuhen came back and won the next 4 for Tai Lu, pushing it to an ace match, and there was almost a reverse all kill there.
Almost. Not quite.
Close, but no cigar.
Yeah. I really like how SlayerS throws up Crank as their scout, though. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been thrown up pretty much every single time as the first player for SlayerS.
He was thrown up first against Millennium, but it was Golden that went up first against Tai Lu. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, Crank has done a considerably well job at scouting out. I always call them the scout because they're like the first player, the first probe that enters the other player's base. And you know, for your first player, you always want someone who can be proficient in all 3 matchups and still give you that momentum boost and hopefully take that first W.
Certainly. And Probe is going to make its way away. Knows that it's a Speedling build coming out of Killer right now.
What's going on at the front door of the Zerg?
It's
or the Protoss.
The Protoss, yeah. He's going to do a Forge Fast expand, and he's going to build this around into his Nexus here in just a second, opting for that pylon behind the neutral supply depot. I mean, because there's just no physical way to forge FE across this ramp right here. It just does not happen. He would actually be obliterated by Speedlings, which there's a possibility that he still might. We'll see how much Killer actually wants to commit to Zerglings right now, producing 4 of them along with a Queen, and he gets Zergling speed up at exactly the same time. So a very clean build out of him thus far, and he actually does produce another drone after that. That's important to note because these 4 lings, they're not meant to kill his opponent. They're meant to scout, see what's going on, and then take map control.
Yeah, and I think Killer's going to opt for that expansion after this quick speed. The thing about getting that quick speed is it's nice to control the map, but a lot of Zergs aren't going to necessarily use it to you know, end the game right away unless they want to go for Roachling all in.
Yeah. I have seen recently a few players that are just tired of the Forge FEs or Nexus first out of Protoss players, even on very open maps like Metalopolis, so they just punish it by producing 6 to 8 lings right away and try and actually run by and deny them. Actually, I've had some people just deny the main. They force all of the probes into the natural and they outright kill the Nexus. Doesn't happen often, but every once in a while it can.
It can happen on some maps. This is a map where you can do it on. You need a map where you cannot fully wall off as a Protoss right away with just 3 buildings, a forge, a core, and a gateway. Such as this one, you can actually run Zerglings behind the Nexus. But I don't think Killer's going to do it because he's droning up right now, and he's getting a hatchery. So it looks like he's going to play a macro game.
Yeah, and Crank actually going after a 1 cannon defense for the time being.
That's risky.
It is risky because 7 range on this cannon. It can get back to right about here. But any sort of Zerglings that can deny these 2 mineral patches, there we go. That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
And this Photon Cannon is actually in perfect position because it can reach both of the assimilators and completely protects the mineral line as well.
I also like the pylon in the back too, just kind of walling off a path that the Zerglings could potentially take into the Protoss main. So
definitely
really well thought out layout in terms of the natural for Crank. And that's really a skill that Protoss players learn as they start to pick up StarCraft 2, how to effectively wall off and make it so that your base is essentially a maze.
Yep, definitely. And Killer may actually end up moving into Roaches here in a bit. He did decide to pull all off of gas except for the single drone, but because he's only mining 1 gas at a time, may move into that in a second. He's quickly going to have enough for layer tech, though. Wouldn't be surprised to see that in a bit. And that hatchery, the 3rd hatchery, I should say, is coming down.
And yeah, he's got 150 gas right now. You mentioned, you know, he only has 1 drone on gas. I think he's been mining 3 for a while, though, because he has so much gas at this portion of the game. I wonder why he's got so much. I thought for a second maybe he was going to go for Roach Warren and get some roaches out, but now he's got the third already, and he hasn't gone into lair. So
he is droning like mad, though, at the moment. It's been nothing but rounds of drones after this. And, yeah, I mean, he's about at that point. There's macro hatch. I still have to stick to my guns and think that this is going to be some sort of a roachling. Okay, there we go. We see the shadows of the evolution chamber and the roach horn coming up. I would imagine that lair tech is going to hit as soon as he has the minerals for that as well. So he's able to put out some very, very well upgraded roaches.
Well, the roach, what his build here is just to drone up, play a macro game, but I like the timing on the roach warren. He can get roaches out with the gas that he's surplused already, in case Killer is coming in with something like a 6-gate.
Right.
So he'll be prepared for it. But I think his overall game plan here, barring a 6-gate aggression from Crank, is just to play macro.
All right, and looks like Killer has been droning up this whole time, so he has been showing that to us. Yes, still no lair tech. Super, super, super late on lair tech.
I think he's going to get those upgrades, or at least one upgrade first.
Yeah, I mean, he's had that evolution chamber for a little while, though. There's finally lair coming up. Okay, that's what I was waiting for.
I don't think that was late, because... Yeah, he's not late because he's making 7 roaches.
No. I mean, he had the gas allocated for that to all hit at the exact same time. Perfectly, yes. It's just a little bit different time than I'm used to seeing off of other players, but you're exactly right. 7-gate, and that's a ton of sentries that are up.
Did he get +1 weapons already?
Actually designed to do a ton of damage. He's got +1 armor coming up, and +1 weapons is already done, as you're alluding to.
Oh, and he's gonna hallucinate to Phoenix. Now, this is gonna be for scouting. You know, some Protoss players will actually hallucinate something like a warp prism to fake out the Zerg, and then making him think Robobay is down. I thought he warped in 2 warp prisms there to fake Phoenix, but no, it's not. It's for scout.
Who was it that I was watching where he actually he hallucinated like 6 Phoenixes out, but he kept them specifically out of range of Overlord so that they wouldn't fire anything like that? Right. And I saw Evolution Chamber and Lair come down right away, and he overcommitted to it. It's actually really cute, but can't remember the game offhand. But here we go. These units are starting to make their way across the map.
He's got to kill that probe if he wants to buy time, but the probe is so protected. Love the movement.
Units are warping down on the low ground as well, timed out very well with that pylon that was sitting up there. And with 3 photon cannons, he is plenty safe back at home. There's no danger of these Zerglings breaking through the front.
All right, well, let's see if Killer's going to be able to hold this off or not. He's got enough drones to warp in to morph in units right now. He picks off 2 Stalkers that were on their way to join the big army. Good play right there. You want to keep that Protoss ball as small as possible, and not so good from Crank, but, you know, his pylon reinforcements are far away. He warps into the main using that pylon and the hallucinated Phoenix, so he's got Zealots inside of Killer's main right now.
So smart. And even if these only get 3 or 4 kills and distract the rest of the army, then it was totally worth it. As he makes his way in with a huge number of Stalkers and Sentries. Guardian Shield is down. The amount of damage these Roaches are doing is very, very limited, and he's starting to force shield that ramp over and over again.
Well, there are 34 Lings and 3 Roaches on the way. Killer could possibly survive this. If he could get his units down the ramp, he would have a shot, but that force field is keeping them away. 38 Lings about to come out. Roach speed is about to finish. The force field continues to keep Killer inside the main, though, and you can see he's trying to target the sentries to get rid of them. He is unable to do so. There's so much firepower, and the +1 armor really coming in to save Crank's sentries there. I think that Crank is going to be able to do it. He might be able to bust the front door.
He's still got 1 more force shield ready, and then looks like this one was saving up some energy. Needs to kill that sentry.
Where's his reinforcements?
They're starting to come in through the back now, but it looks like the macro hatch is going to go down. Is there anything happening inside of his main? No. It looks like there's been no run by or anything like that.
All right, the macro hatch is a decent kill here, but he's got to do more damage than that. He's got to kill off drones or kill off the natural hatchery. It looks like drones are starting to go down. Well-timed force field once again.
It's so, like, I'm not even a Zerg player, and I'm just feeling so much pain for Killer right now. This is actually hurting me. The in-game map editor is wrecking him at the moment.
And it looks like the natural hatchery will go down. So Crank successfully executes the 7-gate +1/+1. Finally, the units come down, but the job has been done here. Crank could actually pull back. Right. I don't know why he's staying here. Actually, he might just have enough firepower.
Kill this.
Yeah.
We'll find out, though. He's starting to reinforce with a few more Stalkers. Those are all 1/1, whereas there's only +1 weapons now for these Roaches. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that that's going to be it. But my God, oh, that was so frustrating. It was just, I was waiting for those units to pop on through, but it was so well executed out of Crank.
I'll keep my balance discussion aside. I think Crank is going to take this game. He's going to run up the ramp. There's the GG.